So, good day. Today we're going to talk on the COVID-19 tax incentives available to Ghanaian to take advantage of in this period of COVID-19. So, these guidelines are to provide a framework for the application of tax incentives announced by the government in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic to personal emoluments of health workers, additional allowances for frontline health workers, persons who make withdrawals from Provident Fund or personal pension scheme as a result of permanent loss of employment or capital due to COVID-19, and then also to donations made towards to the fight of against the COVID-19 pandemic. So, one, the waiver of personal income tax emolument of health workers from April to June 2020. The waiver covers the following categories of health workers. Category 1, staff of public sector health facilities on a centralized payroll administered by the Controller and Accountant General. The information on this category will be furnished by the Controller and Accountant General. The category 2 staffs are staff of subvented quasi government health facility. Information of these categories will be furnished through the Controller and Accountant General or the Ministry of Finance. The category 3 staff are the staff of public health facilities paid through internally generated fund, that's IGF. Category 4 staff are staff of self-accounting quasi government health facilities. And the category 5 are staff of private sector health facility duly registered by the Ministry of Health. The scope of incentives covers personal emolument of health workers as stated on their payslip and other benefits including bonuses, sitting allowance, honoraria are excluded from this waiver. The requirement for qualification to draw this incentive is that the beneficiary health institutions must be registered with the Ghana Revenue Authority and discharging their tax obligations. The qualifying employees of such institutions must have tax identification numbers. And now, if you don't have your tax identification numbers, you have to go to the Registrar General or the Ghana Revenue Authority and register for your TIN numbers. The beneficiary institutions that fall under category 3 to 5, as we've indicated earlier, category 3 staff are the staff of public health facilities who are paid through the IGF. Category 4 are staff of self accounting quasi government health facilities, and category 5 staff of private health facilities duly registered by the Ministry of Finance are required to continue filing their payee returns at their respective tax office as they must have already been doing so as part of their tax obligations. The the waiver of the income tax is applicable only to health workers designated as frontline workers by the Ministry of Health, and the underlying factor is frontline workers, health workers. The scope of incentives, it covers additional allowance constituting 50% of a frontline worker basic salary. So if you are a frontline worker, you are eligible to have an additional allowance of 50%, which will be tax free. In addition to you not paying your personal income tax from the period of April to June 2020. So let's talk about the waiver of income taxes on withdrawals from the Tier 3 of Provident Fund or from personal pension schemes before maturity as a result of permanent loss of employment or capital. Um, the the law mandates you to withdraw proceeds from your provident fund after 10 years, but as a result of your of a permanent loss of income due to COVID-19 pandemic, you are entitled to make withdrawals from your provident fund, which will be exempted from income tax thereon. The eligibility for the waiver will, however, be determined per the framework by the National Pensions Regulatory Authority (NPRA) in the form of certification covering qualification of such withdrawals, and applicants are therefore required to show proof of their eligibility before a waiver is granted. For VAT, National Health Insurance Levy, get fund relief on donations towards the fight against COVID-19 pandemic. Relief items covers the following categories of beneficiaries: businesses or persons who donate some of their stock of goods or equipment, or businesses or persons or associations who purchase items from third parties to donate, and businesses and persons who purchase inputs for the construction or extension of health facilities meant for the fight against the pandemic. The underlying supplies must have, however, been donated through recognized institutions. That's the underlying factor. You should have donated these items through a recognized institution and bodies, including the following: the COVID 19 Trust Fund, the Private Sector Trust Fund, the Metropolitan Municipal or District Assemblies, the ministries, departments, and agency, health institutions, traditional councils, religious bodies, and institutions. So, donation in support of COVID-19 pandemic are made towards fighting the COVID-19 pandemic and shall be allowed as a deductible expense. So, anybody who donates to these institutions listed for, you will have it as a deductible expense against your tax. And the scope of the allowable deductions shall be eligible upon approval by the Commissioner General. So the eligibility criteria: you submit your annual tax returns, and then also you attach evidence of such donations, i.e., the acknowledgement of the receipts, or attach any form of documentation that may deem necessary in support of this claim. So the waiver of penalties to taxpayers as a result of COVID-19. Anybody who settles all their outstanding tax liabilities on or before the 30th of June 2020 shall be eligible for a remission of penalties as part of incentive towards the COVID-19 pandemic. It's simple. So if you owe any tax liability, do so. Go and pay all the liabilities you owe the GRA without any penalties being imposed on you. And the procedure for application of this waiver: you should have settled all your tax liability and follow the steps in applying for the waiver by applying to the Commissioner General in writing, stating the amount of penalties involved and the periods they relate to, and attach evidence of payment of taxes made. These simple tax reliefs, I believe a lot of people don't know about, and then I think much exposure should be given since we are already in June for people to take advantage of. If you have any questions, you can send an email to me or make a comment I will reply to you as soon as possible. Thank you.